Meehaneeto, a story about technology and its impact on our lives and society, by Jeanette Hughes and George Gedenides. Art by Ryan James Terry. A long, long time ago, a wall was built to separate Elusito from Meehaneeto. Who built the wall, Mamito? Asks Perejito. Our ancestors, she replies. What's on the other side? Meehaneeto. Meehaneeto? Bad, very bad things. I can climb and take a look. I don't think that's a good idea, cautions Mamito. I'll be okay, says Perejito, walking to the wall. Mamito uses her machete to cut a leaf from a succulent plant. She sits on the rock. She rubs some of the sap from the leaf on her face. Honey, that's not a good idea, she repeats. Perejito reaches for the vine that covers the wall. Gavito barks a warning. Perejito starts climbing. Ah! She screams. She lets go of the vine and falls to the ground. She runs to Mamito, scratching at the red spots on her skin. Stop scratching, advises Mamito. I have terrible itches. I know. Rub this on your skin. It will help. Why didn't you tell me? I told you twice. You didn't listen. Gavito warned you as well. Perejito rubs more sap from the plant on her skin. I'm still itchy. It will go away in a while. Ah! Perejito moans. Mamito walks and Perejito follows. What does Meehaneeto look like? Climb the wall again if you want to find out. Mamito laughs. Not funny. Let's keep walking. Did you climb the wall when you were young, Mamito? I did, she replies. Did you get the terrible itches? I sure did. Now that's funny. They both laugh. Mamito and Perejito reach the creek. Mamito drops her backpack. Perejito takes out the blanket and food. They sit for a picnic. Perejito swims in the creek. Gavito swims beside her. Mamito sits on a large rock, her feet dangling in the water. Mamito, the terrible itches are not as terrible in the water. The water is cool. That helps, explains Mamito. Perejito looks to the tall canes by the creek's bank. She has an idea. May I borrow your machete? Please be careful, Perejito. Perejito cuts the two tallest canes. She trims the top. Watch this, Mamito. Perejito holds the cane in front of her. She runs as fast as she can towards the creek. As she reaches the creek, she plants the cane in the creek bed while raising her end of the cane as high as she can reach. Up and up she goes. She lands on the other side of the creek. I did it, Mamito! I did it! She beams with joy. She repeats the jump to get back, landing near Mamito. Did you do this when you were young, Mamito? No, Perejito. Are you proud of me? Prompts Perejito. You are very clever, says Mamito. I want to see what's on the other side, Mamito. I wish you didn't, worries Mamito. Come eat some more. Perejito eats more food. She gives Gavito a scrap. She lays her head on Mamito's lap as Mamito pets her hair. Perejito falls asleep. Gavito, her head on Perejito's legs, sleeps too. On the way back, Perejito stops at the wall, holding two canes she brought from the creek. There is nothing good on the other side, Perejito. I will jump over, take a look, and come right back. Mamito hugs her as tears roll down her cheeks. I promise, right back. Perejito throws one cane over the wall as Gavito barks warnings at her. She will use that to jump back. Perejito runs and vaults. The cane hits the wall and bounces back to the ground as her momentum carries her over. Mamito waits and waits. Gavito is at her side. The sun sets and the moon rises. The next day, Mamito wakes and looks up the wall through wary eyes. She pours water in a cup. Gavito laps it up. When Perejito vaults over the wall, she sees a vast gray desert. She lands awkwardly on the cane she threw over the wall, snapping it into two, and rolls down a sand dune. How will she get back? Perejito brushes the sand off of herself. She looks back at the wall. She walks up and touches the smooth surface. There does not seem to be anything alive on this side of the wall. Perejito steps back. Mamito, she calls. Gavito, she shouts. They cannot hear her calls. Perejito notices something sticking out of the sand. She digs at the sand. As the sun begins to set, Perejito is still digging. Two handles are sticking out, and a long, narrow seat. Perejito pulls and pulls, but she can't move it. As the sun sets, she lays her head on the seat and sleeps. Perejito wakes as the sun rises. It is cold and she is shivering. She looks at the meehaneeto buried in the sand. What are you? She wonders. Perejito continues digging. She sits on the seat and grabs hold of the handlebars. The panel between the handlebars comes to life. She touches the screen. Meehaneeto hums and then moves. It rises out of the sand and hovers. Perejito, surprised, jumps off. After a moment, she smiles and jumps on. Perejito pulls back on the handlebars and Meehaneeto rises higher. She pushes forward and Meehaneeto accelerates. She leans back and it decelerates. She leans to the side and it turns. I will call you Petatito, smiles Perejito as she flies over the wall. Look, Mamito, look! I can fly! Perejito circles around Gavito and Mamito. Then she lands. She runs and hugs Mamito. Gavito jumps and licks her chin. Perejito climbs back on Petatito. Come with me, Mamito. Please send it back. We can walk home, together. I want to keep it, Mamito. No good will come of it. Our ancestors learned this the hard way a long time ago. I will be careful. Perejito flies back to town. She lands in the yard of her home. As time passes, many meehaneeto are reintegrated into the daily lives of the Ilusito. Transportation meehaneeto, from animal-drawn carts to petatito and other larger flying vehicles. Farming automation, from Ilusito working the land to automated seeding, planting, fertilizing, and sowing. Factory production, from Ilusito carpenters, metalworkers, to automated and robot-assisted production of gadgets and devices. Personal devices, from Ilusito chatting at a cafe with others, to cell phones, tablets, flat screens, and interacting with personal robots. The latest meehaneeto brought over the wall is Panoptito. Many years after Perejito jumped over the wall, she lands her shuttle in Mamito's yard. Nanulito! They shout as they run to their grandmother. How you've grown, she says as they hug. It's so good to see you, Mamito. It's been a long time. I've missed you. Been busy with meehaneeto we are still discovering. Ah, meehaneeto. I see you brought them along. I don't see any meehaneeto I've sent to you. I have no need of them, Perejito. I need you and my grandchildren. I am very sorry that we haven't visited more often, says Perejito as they hug. Remember our last time at the creek? Such a long time ago. Let's walk there tomorrow for a picnic. Walk? You still have legs, my Perejito? Teases Mamito as she looks under the table. I still have legs, Mamito, laughs Perejito. It's time I don't have. Where is the leisure time meehaneeto was to give us? Teases Mamito. I spend it at work. With meehaneeto? Yes, laughs Perejito. They both look at the children, immersed with their personal devices. What keeps you so busy? Panoptito. This one is different from the other meehaneeto. It connects us to one another. Connects us? Like a web? Actually, yes. An information web. You can use it to find or share information. Like a library? Asks Mamito. Yes, where everyone can be an author. How'd you know which authors to read? When you search, the popular ones show up first. Could someone share things that are interesting but untrue? They could. What if fanciful lies become popular? That's possible. Panoptito also creates social groups. What? Asks Mamito in surprise. Ways to meet with friends and to make new friends at a distance. Is that what my grandchildren are doing? Yes, they are chatting and playing games with their friends. I wonder what they'd be doing now if you hadn't jumped the wall. Probably pestering you to play with them. That would be wonderful, Perejito. Maybe our ancestors should have built a bigger wall, Mamito. Maybe you or my grandchildren will do that one day. Does Panoptito see what my grandchildren are doing in this web? It does, confirms Perejito. Really? Panoptito is building a model of each Elusito. What we do, what we like, how we think. Why? To give us more of what we like. There is something else. Perejito pauses with a worried look on her face. Panoptito learns what information changes how we think, how we behave. This is your work, Perigito? This is how we make a profit, Mamito. The information and social webs are free. Companies pay us to use Panoptito to sell products, services. Politicians also use it to sway how Elusito vote. Perigito! I know, Mamito, I know, agrees Perigito. This is awful. It is a danger, Mamito. I'm glad you see it, Perigito. We are working on a code of ethics for Panoptito. Each meehaneeto seems designed for a specific purpose, says Mamito. That's true, concurs Perigito. Then a code of ethics for Panoptito won't help. How so? You cannot change its purpose. Panoptito will always be unethical. Its purpose is to destroy our privacy, to control us. Perigito's eyes widen with realization. A tear appears on Perigito's face. She puts her hand over her mouth. Her eyes show fear and sadness. The family sets off for the creek. The robot follows. Sleep, instructs Perigito. The robot stops. What now? What will you do with the technology around you? How will you live your life?